Welcome guys, and in this video we are going to understand about AWS DynamoDB, which is the NoSQL database service, and how we can work on it on the AWS. So you can see on my screen I have logged in into the AWS console in the Oregon region, and we are going to search for the DynamoDB. You can get it from under the recently visited services, or you can just search for Dynamo database. So when you click on Dynamo database, manage NoSQL database service, a dashboard would open in front of you. And what you need to do, on the DynamoDB we work directly. So we need to just create the tables, and it does not take any kind of a schema or a structure. What we need to do is we just have to click on create a table and provide a table name. Let's say I put the table name something like student database, and the partition key, adding the partition key is mandatory. So we need to add a partition key. We can add the sort key also, but it is optional. So let's say I prepare a student database where I'm going to add the students details and the records. So I add up the partition key as, let's say, ID, and the ID has to be always a number, not a string. So I'll just select number, and then in the sort key I'll just put the name, and this is an optional thing, which is going to be string. Then in the table settings, either you can go with the default table settings where you get provision read capacity, provision write capacity, which is default setup. Auto scaling is enabled, and encryption key management again managed by the DynamoDB. So all those things will be taken care by the DynamoDB in the backend. However, you can customize the settings also. You can go to customize settings, and then you can change the read capacity units and the write capacity units. If you want, you can disable anything also. It is up to you. You can do all those kind of customizations as well. Click on create a table, and you would see that in just a minute's time, less than a minute's time, the table will be created. You can see here I have created this table student database, and if I refresh it, it should be in the active state. Here you can see the status is active. Now once the database is created, once the table is created, I need to add the attributes. You can refer the data structure schema that I explained in the theory video. So what we need to do is how to add the attributes or the items. We just have to click on the database table, click on explore table items, and you would see here the items returned are nothing because it's a blank table. Nothing has been added inside this table. So what we need to do, we just have to click on create an item, click on create item, and then you can add the attributes. First of all, obviously we need to add the values in the ID, the partition key, and the name in the sort key, and then we can add the attributes. So let's say I put in the ID value as 1, name I put something like John, and click on add new attributes, and whatever the attribute that you want to add, you can accordingly design a schema. So for every attributes there can be a different schema. So let's say I put up a number as an attribute, and here I put marks, or I can put percentage, and I can put John got somewhere around 95% marks. And then I can add another attribute. Let's say I put it as number, and I put rank. So let's say John got rank 1 in the class. And then I add another attribute, and I select string, and here I put grade, and he got A grade. Alright, just click on create an item, and you would see that the item will be inserted inside the DynamoDB table. Similarly, I can add more items also. So we just have to click on create an item, add a value. Let's say I put value 2, and I put another name. Let's say I put Alice, and I'm going to add the attributes number, percentage, Alice got 94, and in the attributes I can put something like rank. So Alice got rank 2, and in the string I can put grade, and it can be anything else also. Let's say if any student got less numbers, less marks, you can adjust your attribute as well. So I put it as grade A itself for Alice as well, and create an item. So you can see there 2 items are added in the table. Likewise, you can keep on adding the items in the table or the data in the table. That is one way of adding up the items in the table. Now there are other ways also working on the DynamoDB, because let's say if you are having a bulk data and that you need to upload on the DynamoDB table, so you need to do it quickly. Let's say there are thousands of entries, so you cannot do it manually one by one. So there are other ways. I can use an AWS CLI to do a batch write item command, use a batch write item command and put the entire data on the DynamoDB table. I can use some APIs connected with the DynamoDB table, and from the API I can insert the data. And likewise, I can connect it with some applications. I can connect the database or the DynamoDB with the applications running on the EC2 instance, and from there I can push the data on the DynamoDB. Even I can also use Lambda function. So there can be thousands of use cases through which we can upload large chunk of data on the DynamoDB table. So here we are just looking up how we can work on the DynamoDB. Alright. So the next thing is we can add some filters also. Let's say if the items are added in the DynamoDB and how we can search for a particular item. So what we can do, we can click on a filters, and here in the filter we just have to add the attribute name. Let's say I want to see who got rank 1. So rank is the attribute name, type is going to be number, and the value is 1, and click on run. So it would give me the details that the ID 1 with the name John got %95, rank 1, grade A. Let's say I want to see who got rank 2, run it. So I got Alice got rank 2 with 94% marks. So this is how we can actually filter and get the details from the DynamoDB table as well. Apart from that, how the database is redundant, how we can make our data items more secure, and how we can create a backup of these database items, considering let's assume that if anything happens to the Oregon region or the table is not accessible, so in that case how I can get the backups of my table done. So I can click on the backups, I can take the backup of the entire table, and I can store the backup either in the DynamoDB dashboard or I can store it in the AWS backup service, which is a separate service altogether. So how we can work on it is we just have to click on create a backup, and guys, so click on create a backup, create on-demand backup. You can even schedule it also. Search by table name, put I want a backup for student database, and backup window you can put it like start in 1 hour. So after 1 hour the backup would be taken. You can customize these settings also, where you can specify where exactly you want to take the backup, where you want to store the backup. Do you want the backup to be stored with the AWS backup service, or do you want it in the DynamoDB dashboard only? So let's say I select I want it in the DynamoDB dashboard itself. Then you need to provide the backup name. So let's say I put something like student, or student DB backup as the name, and click on create a backup. So here you can see quickly the backup has been done and it is available in the DynamoDB dashboard itself. Now what you can do is you can actually restore the table from the backup also. For example, let's say if I go to the tables here, and since I have already taken the backup of this particular table, we have added 2 items in this table. Now for some reason, let's say if this table is not available, I'm just going to delete it. Whether I would be able to get the same items from the backup, can I restore the table from the backup? Let's look into it. So I'm just going to delete this table. Yes, delete all CloudWatch alarms also. Confirm and click on delete. Now once this table is deleted, everything is gone. but we do not have to worry. The reason is because we have the backup, and we can restore a new table. We can create a new table with the same entries from the backup itself. And I can move this backup to or export it to the S3 also for longer term retention, longer duration retention as well. Now, how I can restore the table from the backup? What I need to do is just select your backup, click on restore. Just one thing is that you need to provide a new table name. So I'm just going to put db student result, restore the entire table, and in the same region I want the table to be restored, owned by Amazon DynamoDB itself. Click on restore, and you would see that a new table would be created, but with the same items that we were having in the previous table. So I'll just refresh, and you would see still restoring. So guys, it takes time to get the table restored from the backup, even if the entries are also low. So let's wait for it to be completed. So here you can see the database is created, and if I open up this database and look for explore table items, you're going to find the same table items. So Alice and John, the data items are available. So that's how we can restore the table from the backup. And thanks for watching this video, guys.